When the owners and new employees of Lectrosonics first opened their factory in May of 1971, they probably never imagined where the little Albuquerque, New Mexico company would be in 40 years. But even then, the philosophy and business plan was simple: to build the best products they knew how to make and support them with the best service they could possibly provide.
At that time, we were making primarily some over-the-shoulder voice projectors. It consisted of a 6-inch loudspeaker in a small wooden box, and those were all made in a wood shop that we had. That was our basic manufacturing, was woodworking at that time. Well, we were in 3 steel buildings, and they were very old when we got into them. They'd been used as a metal reclamation place before we got there, and they were cold in the wintertime and hot in the summertime, and the wind blew through there pretty much all the time. I remember one time that we had a snowstorm outside, and the snow blew in around the cracks of these big sliding doors, and when we came in the morning, we had snow on top of the plastic, on top of the test equipment. And pretty primitive surroundings. It was cheap, and it was a place to start, but we're much happier where we are today.
In 1975, the first wireless microphone was added to the product line. The final design was completed and marketed under the Freedom Mic trademark. Wireless microphones were readily accepted in existing markets, and the product group became key to the growth of the company. Beginning in the late 1970s, the company began producing portable rechargeable battery-powered instrument amplifiers with the Mouse trademark. The products caught on in New York City and San Francisco in particular, where street musicians needed the portability and economy of rechargeable battery power. In New York, every music store along 48th Street stocked the products, and within a few years, thousands of them could be found all over Manhattan. The last production run of Mouse took place on September 25th, 2000.
In looking at the product line, it appeared to me that combination wireless and audio systems were the primary products that had any chance for making any money in the long term. We were fortunate enough so that the early wireless products caught on, and they were good products compared to what was already out there, and there wasn't a whole lot out there. The M185, I think, was the first successful transmitter, and the R185 was the first successful receiver. We sold quite a few plug-ons to WGN and their sister station in, KTLA.
Portable PA systems with built-in wireless microphones began in the early 1980s with the VP300, which later evolved into the Long Ranger. These products were designed for outdoor use, so the company developed a dealer network to serve auctioneers and marching band directors. After more than 2 decades in production, the Long Ranger series is being discontinued in 2011 due to a key component being no longer available.
Yeah, when I started in 1984, the VP300 was as John Arison explained it, was a collection of parts that they found when he took the business over in a separate warehouse. There was extrusion pieces and flat stock, and he kept seeing these repairs coming in that had their old plus power speaker, and then there was one of the old low band receivers duct tape onto the top of it. And he said, these people would like to have a wireless and an amplifier, speaker, and all this in one box. So he rummaged through the shop there, used all the aluminum parts in there, and that was the VP300 basically. And it was quite successful, it quickly became a standard, and the Long Ranger came along in about '86, I believe, something like that.
As other electronics firms were moving offshore, Lectrosonics remained a domestic manufacturer as the importance of being made in the USA began to grow. Customers appreciated the fact that they could call the factory directly to discuss any issues they had with the products. This direct feedback was invaluable to the company, and the responsive attitude led to changes in the product designs accordingly. As a result, the infectious sense of ownership in the products within the staff was shared by dealers and customers.
I started back in August of 1977, so I've been here a while. when they told us that we were going to move to Rio Rancho, to a new building, of course we were all excited. It was a lot of work, you know, packing everything up. Luckily we didn't have a whole lot of stuff, but the stuff that we did have, our workbenches and equipment, you know, definitely took some work to transport that all up here. And then of course, it seemed like at the time that Rio Rancho was miles and miles away. So that was very interesting for those of us that had been at, you know, in Albuquerque for so long. And then of course coming to here and, you know, having the air conditioning and the heating system that everybody would be cool and warm, and just a nice clean atmosphere was really great.
When Lectrosonics decided to enter the broadcast market in the late 1980s, there were 480 VHF television stations in the USA whose primary activity was local news. At that time, professional camcorders were beginning to appear, and VHF television stations were moving to single-person crews for news gathering. The camera operator was responsible for picture and sound since the audio was captured and recorded on the tape along with the video. As it turned out, the television broadcast market eagerly adopted the plug-on transmitter and compact receiver for electronic news gathering and documentary production. Time to air was faster using wireless, and the stations that aired the story first captured the largest audience. Meanwhile, at Lectrosonics, the engineering team had begun working on audio processing equipment targeted at the installed sound market. The first product was the MAP, or Modular Audio Processor System, consisting of a card cage design with a variety of automatic mixing, signal processing, and logic control modules. MAP allowed the sound system designer to customize the hardware for each installation.
The MAP system was Lectrosonics' first installed sound product. Mike Sims was the driving engineer on that. In fact, it was his vision of the MAP system that brought him into the company. And it was a modular card frame based design that had 5 rack spaces, and you would slide cards in and configure the system on how many inputs, how many outputs, whether you wanted an equalizer. One of our current salespeople was one of the biggest users, Howard Kaufman, our guy in New York. At the time, Howard was the senior audio engineer for the United Nations, and he used the MAP system to put together a really incredibly complex translation system in the General Assembly. And so that was quite a prestigious installation for us. In fact, Howard installed so much of the MAP system that when we decided to open an office in New York, we decided to give him a call first because he knew our product probably would be better than we did.
One thing that the company did not know was how much overlap existed between TV and motion picture production. News and documentaries were one type of field production, while motion picture and television series production often took place in studios or at least in controlled locations. It was discovered that even though the production techniques and environments were different, the equipment was often the same, and many Lectrosonics customers worked in both fields. When CBS first began production of the program 48 Hours, the required equipment list specified what is now known as a bag system. A typical crew consisted of 2 cameras and a portable audio rig in an over-shoulder bag that included a mixer, wireless receivers, and transmitters. The mixed audio was then relayed to the cameras. In many cases, the audio recordist also handled a microphone mounted on a boom pole. Size and weight were key concerns, and once again, Lectrosonics compact receivers answered the call. Development also continued for auto mixing products with the introduction of the AM series. At the time, there was still a question about how well a computer-controlled audio system would be accepted in the contracting market. The issue did not last long, however, as designers discovered how effective these new solutions could be for age-old problems.
We were interested in fully automatic mic mixing, and at Lectrosonics was developed the proportional adaptive gain control algorithm, which formed the foundation of a line of products. We're now in the 3rd generation of that product line. In the early days, we had the AM series, familiar products like the AM 1612, AM8, and so on. The advent of computer control changed a lot of things. The advancement of third-party control systems, like AMX and Crestron, also that was a factor in the evolution of the control side of the products. And so We tried to work with consultants and our other sources in the industry to keep on top of the emerging trends and offer the control interfaces that were required. So we've come a long way there too with control protocols and interfaces.
The years from 1995 through 2002 saw continued growth at Lectrosonics, requiring an expansion of production equipment in the factory and increased engineering efforts to develop new products. The wireless IFB, or interruptible foldback system, was introduced in 1998 and became a workhorse product in broadcast and film production. Engineering of other new products was also underway at the time, but the products were complex and involved the coordinated efforts of several engineers.
Digital hybrid, we first put it out there near the end of 2002, and that was when we registered the patent and all that kind of stuff, first applied for it. It took something like 7 years before it issued, amazingly enough. But I would say the biggest thing about digital hybrid is it's changed the way that people do audio for movies and TV production and things like that, because sound guys love to have dynamic range. They don't like to be up against a wall. They don't want to be worrying about clipping. They don't want to be worried about hiss. And with digital hybrid, you actually have enough range. You've got a usable dynamic range of more than 100 dB, which a lot of the time is better than whatever they're feeding.
During the most recent decade, the team at Lectrosonics has developed variable power miniature transmitters, encrypted wireless systems, and digital wireless systems for use in field production and live sound. A significant engineering effort developed the Aspen family of advanced digital audio processors, introduced in 2009. Aspen, or Audio Signal Processing Expansion Network, delivers leading-edge technology for audio conferencing and large-scale automated sound systems. In 2011, Lectrosonics is busy entering yet another new market with the introduction of the Quadra digital wireless monitor system. A highly advanced and unique product, Quadra is well suited for touring musicians, houses of worship, and stage productions. In the company's 40th year in business, the company added a 6,000 square foot building expansion. The fanatical staff has grown to over 157, and many new projects are underway in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, USA.
If there's any one thing that I'm really proud of, it's the people in this plant. I think they're a good bunch.
We have a terrific knack for avoiding bureaucratic red tape. When there's a way to get something done directly, we just do it. So that's a real, almost two guys in the garage kind of culture, which is pretty amazing given that we now have more than 150 employees.
I don't think that I would have stayed with the company if I didn't enjoy what I did. It's a good company to work for, and I enjoy building prototypes. I've done other things here at the company, and I've enjoyed all of them. So that's what gets me up in the morning to come to work.